Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another countdown to the 2022 Saturday Visitor Awards presented by Poe Baltimore in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you for joining me this evening. I see two of you up tonight. I hope to be joined by a few more. We are meeting every Thursday night from here until through the rest of the year and through January to talk about the Saturday Visitor Awards, talk about what creators need to know to enter their Poe-inspired works. If you just saw our video, our trusty video, talking about the awards, talking about the history of the awards. One of the Edgar Allan Poe House in Baltimore's claims to fame, not just that Poe lived in Poe House, but Poe began his professional career here in Baltimore. He began writing short stories at Poe House, and while he was living at Poe House in Baltimore, he won his very first, the first money he ever received for his professional work. So very proud of that. And the name of the periodical who gave him that prize is Saturday Visitor. So our awards presented, the Saturday Visitor Awards, named in honor of that prize that launched Poe's professional career. And Baltimore gets to say this is the city that discovered Edgar Allan Poe. And we really look forward to discovering some more wonderful Poe-inspired creators and Poe-inspired works out there. And that is the purpose of the awards, to recognize a new generation of artists and writers inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. That is the Saturday Visitor Awards. Now, my name is Marika Jang. I am the Executive Director of Poe Baltimore and the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum. Poe Baltimore is the nonprofit organization created to fund, maintain, and interpret the Edgar Allan Poe House and Museum, and to celebrate the legacy of one of Baltimore's most famous residents, beloved around the world. The second part of our mission, not just to keep Poe House open, Poe's Chamber Door open to people just from around the world, both in person and online, but also, again, to celebrate Poe's legacy, to really draw a line from Poe to the present day, share with the work, just share with people the outsized impact that Poe has had on popular culture. And so that means that we do Poe-inspired programming, the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards, one of many programs that we do, and the Saturday Visitor Awards, to recognize just the presence that Poe still has in popular culture, but also this really cool stuff that people send to us, these incredibly creative, wonderful works that people send to Poe Baltimore. It's how we show the world some of the wonderful stuff that we get to see that people send us. Just a little plug for Poe House in Baltimore. We are open our non-pandemic hours Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We've opened on a limited basis, so reservations are required if you do want to come and see us. But if you come to Baltimore, want to be in the house where Poe lived and again launched his career, and just come and chat Poe things, come and see us at Poe House. Well, the purpose of these meetings, the purpose of these sessions for Thursday nights is to answer questions, hopefully live, that people may have about the Saturday Visitor Awards. Hey, I see APT out there in the crowd. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome. Our friends down in Richmond. So the Saturday Visitor Awards, we're going to be talking about some frequently asked questions and sharing some tips, but also things that you really need to know. And also every session we're going to be focusing on specific things that folks need to know. So some of it will be a little repetitive if you are watching this series, but each of the sessions will include some new information to share with you, and you want to pay attention to these things. You want to keep them in mind. First, of course, dates to remember. Now, the call for entries for the Saturday Visitor Awards will open January 19th, Poe's birthday. In 2022, it is the call for entry. The deadline to enter will be May 30th. That's the second to last day in May. So you have this period of time to enter your works, and we will again be hosting more of these sessions to share tips and tricks and what you need to know to enter your Poe-inspired works. The general timeline for these things, though, after the portal closes on May 30th, deadline to enter 11:59 p.m. May 30th, we usually announce the official nominees for the awards, invite them to celebrate the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival with us in October. So July 30th, we announce the nominees, and then the festival next year. We are aiming for October 8th. Now, we are all not yet from out the shadow of pandemic are we lifted. So we all know that things are Yeah, just this is the way of the world right now. But we are aiming for October 8th for PoeFest International. That is not an official date, but these are dates to remember and things to keep in mind. Now, I hope these sessions are going to be useful for creators. I hope you are brave and you'll maybe chat some questions to us in the comments. I should be able to see them here in StreamYard, be able to see these comments, and I'll be able to read them out or display them and show them to folks. If you're feeling brave, send your questions my way. This is an opportunity to contact me live tonight, ask these questions in person, and maybe share. Maybe other people have the same question. But if you're a little bit shy, don't really feel like sort of bearing your soul to the public tonight, I completely understand. You can contact me at contact@poefestinternational.org. Send me an email. You can get as specific as you need to be about your entry. As the administrator, I'm here to help you navigate our entry system, navigate the rules, make sure that you're eligible. And if you've got any questions about this process or what the Saturday Visitor Awards are and why you should enter, that kind of thing, send some questions my way. And if there's some really good questions, I promise to keep them anonymous, but I will share some of the questions that I receive with folks for the next session. So visit SaturdayVisitorAwards.org if you want an overview of the awards, more information. You can also see our frequently asked questions there. You can also download our entry guidelines. Now, I said this, I stressed this at our last session, but I really do stress this again tonight. Even if you have entered a piece before, even if you have entered awards before, you've even been nominated before, you want to download these entry guidelines again. There are some key changes that are very important to note. So, better safe than sorry. You can download a PDF of the entry guidelines at SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. I highly recommend everybody do that and read those before you enter because we don't want anybody to be heartbroken. So we are opening the chat and comments section tonight. I'm here to answer your questions live if you have them. I'll stay online as long as I see eyeballs and I'll wait for some questions. But after this, we do ask, do not send specific requests via Twitter direct messages or Facebook messages. You want to send an email my way to make sure that I get those messages. Sometimes we have different team members who are looking at social media, so they won't be able to answer your question. It's going to take a little bit more time. So contact us directly, send a message through the website. That is the fastest way to get your questions answered. All right, so we're going to talk about eligibility and guidelines, who can enter the awards, but to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to share a short video with you before we dive into the categories. Here we go. A little bit of a lie at the end of that video. Not quite ready yet. The portal will not be open until January 19th, Poe's birthday, but we're getting ready. We're getting close, right? 2021, almost over. Gosh, I can't believe time flies, whether you're having fun or not. There you go. Okay, status SVA categories. Let's talk a little bit about these categories. As you saw in the video, the awards are offered in two categories. The first, adaptations of Poe's life or works. Now, examples of this might be portraits. Portraits falls here. Edgar obviously was a real person, so his likeness as an adaptation of Poe's true likeness, so portraiture falls here. Biography also falls here because of the narrative nature, the storytelling aspect of biography, so that would fall here. Now, it's important to note that the Saturday Visitor Awards are intended to recognize artistic works rather than academic criticism. So more dramatic interpretation of Poe's work, straight biography. Again, given the storytelling nature of biography, the narrative nature of biography, that's why adaptation would fall, something like that would fall into the adaptation category here. But film, dramatic adaptation, something a little bit truer, chapters from Poe's life, or true, sort of more classical adaptations of Poe's works, things that we understand as adaptations of Poe's works, those would fall here. Obviously, some truly creative pieces can come out of that category, but that is the adaptation of Poe's life or works category. The second category, original works inspired by Poe. Poe's life as a character in film, novel, or play, more dramatic license, for instance, taken with him as a character or other people in his life or periods in his life, that kind of thing. Sequel, prequel, or basis for original story, using Poe's work as the basis for this, but going someplace completely new and original poetry. We've seen novels, we've seen short stories, we've seen lots of really great different interpretations of this. So original works, much more of a broad category, but these are the two categories for the Saturday Visitor Awards. Now, don't fret. We know that some of the creative works out there seem like that might span both categories, and you as a creator might not know. You're inspired by Poe, you create Poe-inspired works, but you may not know where you fit in the grand scheme of things. Before you submit, you are welcome to contact us here at the Saturday Visitor Awards. Send an email through the portal, send an email to that email address is shared with you. I'll flash that up there again. But if there's a question, there's no question. You should get a hold of us and you should ask. And it's not a problem. We're very happy to talk it through with you and help you submit for the proper category. Now, let's say you submitted a work, you either didn't get a hold of us or the judges disagree. The judges as a panel have decided, you know what, we want to kick this over to another category. Important to note, you will not be penalized for that. There's no, you're not going to lose points or anything like that if you're kicked over to another category. So these things happen, and it's a great big wide Poe world out there, and so we know that there's a little bit of shifting around that might happen. So take this seriously. Contact us if you have any question, but don't fret. Once your piece is entered and you get a message from us that says it's been kicked to another category, there's no penalty for that. So a brief summary of the eligibility guidelines. And again, I encourage you to visit our website so that you can download these more in depth. But we are looking for media, art, performance, and or writing that adapts or is inspired by Poe's life and works, or works. There are no restrictions for medium, no restrictions for genre, humor. Poe was funny. In a lot of instances, Poe was quite funny, not just dark and brooding, not just romantic and poetic and all these things. So no restrictions for medium, no restrictions for genre. Now, the work must have been released, printed, distributed, or first performed between January 1, 2019 and December 31, 2021. You'll note that the final date is coming up. Unless your piece has been published sometime in the next 2 weeks, before the next 2 weeks, you may not be eligible next year, and you'll have to kick over to the following year. The reason we do this, we are looking for the works in popular culture. We're looking for Poe-inspired works in popular culture, and this will turn over. So this is a rolling eligibility, eligible for a period of 3 years, but this way works that were, have been out for a while, or even, films from the 60s or something like that. They're incredible, original, wonderful works, but they're not going to be nominated again. They're not going to be, these awards are not for those. January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2021. Now, it's important to note, self-published works do count. Social media does count. Again, wide world out there in lots of ways to get art out there. So as long as the work was made available to the public in some way, posted on YouTube, posted on website, even social media can count as long as the post was available to the public and not a private post, that kind of thing. That can still qualify. So we're looking for traditionally published distributed works, but we're also looking for new mediums and new, what's the word I'm looking for? Again, it's a brave new world. So anything that's out there, make your case. And if there's any question, there's no question, send it my way and we can chat about it. Now, reprinted or re-released materials are discouraged. We understand that you may not have heard about the Saturday Visitor Awards before, and you created your Poe opus 5 years ago, and you really want to enter it for the Saturday Visitor Awards. unless the piece has been materially changed in some way, heavily edited and transformed in some way, we really do discourage reprinted or re-released materials. Don't try to, move a couple of commas around somewhere if your eligibility has passed. Get creative and do something new. Reprinted or re-released materials are discouraged. Now, it's kind of an honor system. We're going to be checking to the best of our ability. However, if we do find that the work has been published before or falls outside of eligibility, that's embarrassing for everybody, so don't do that. A work may be nominated in more than one year, but a winning entry may not be entered again. I know that some of our nominees sometimes pop up and see some of these videos, and if you're considering you didn't win in previous years and you're considering entering your work again, pretty amazing stuff out there. You are free to enter your work again if it is, even if it was nominated previously. However, winning entries, whole or in part, may not be entered again. So if you've won before, you're a winner for all time. And just enjoy the Pantheon and let some other folks in. So those things to note. Again, you can download our guidelines on the website. Now, new for this year. Again, if you have entered previously or you are familiar with Saturday Visitor Awards, this one's new for everyone. You must choose. You may only submit one work per category. You may submit a work in both adaptation and original works. However, you may not submit more than one work per category. You must choose. Pick the standout. And that's important to remember. Okay, so if you've seen this series, you've been watching this series, you may have seen some of that information before, but it bears repeating so that we can get everybody on the same page before we talk about these things. Now, new information for tonight, we are going to talk about the entry form. What are you going to be asked on this entry form? What do you need to be ready to answer when you submit your work? Now, one thing to note, you can also download the entry form ahead of time on the website. I think it does need to be slightly updated for some new dates, but if you want to see, the questions have not changed, so you can still download the entry form. You can see it in its entirety and get your answers ready so that you're just ready to enter those things before you submit in the form. But we'll talk about the entry form and what you need to answer so that you get to that 10-10-10 from the judges. Once again, to note, any genre, any medium. Previous SVA nominated works have included short films, feature films, comic books, paintings, sculpture, songs, concert, animation, scripts, novels, poetry, short stories, Poe-inspires, plays, children's books, beadwork. We have had an incredible array of mediums. And then we've had funny works, we've had serious works, with some really scary stuff, some just really, really beautiful work out there in the past few years that we've entered the awards. So even if you don't see the work that you create on this list, enter it. If your work is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, we want to see it. So just know you don't have to be dark and brooding, you don't have to be gothic, you don't have to be anything. You can submit your Poe-inspired work, and as long as you make it clear to the judges that it's inspired by Poe, we want you to, the sky's the limit, and we want to see the world, the Poe world, big Poe world out there. You will be asked to submit a work electronically. Now, we know that some work can only truly be experienced, in person. We know that, we know that unless the judge can be in the presence of your work, they may not get the full effect. And unfortunately, we do not have the budget to fly our judges around the world to witness your piece. So you will be asked to provide a description, a synopsis of the work, including the medium and genre. No, pardon me. Including the medium and genres, just be as descriptive as possible so the judges can note what they might be missing. You're going to want to also note size, dimensions, duration, anything site-specific or process details that you think might not be readily apparent to the judges upon viewing your link. Your work needs to be an artistic work rather than critical analysis or academic treatise, but let the judges know what they might be missing. Let them know, give them the whole picture as bluntly as possible so that they're aware that there might be some things that they're missing and you really wish that you could show them. But this is going to help them get the full scope of the work. And even though they cannot be in the presence of your work, this is a great way to really open that door for them. Now, Is your work a long form entry? You will be asked to excerpt. Creators are asked to provide a link to the entire completed work. So if you've written a novel, if you've written a feature film longer than 20 minutes, longer than 10,000 words, you will be asked to give a link to the entire piece. However, you will also be asked to highlight the best 20 minutes or the best 10,000 words, something for the judges. It's going to be representative of the piece for the judges to really dig into in the first round. The judges are most likely to view this excerpt in the first round and then take a longer look in subsequent rounds. So that's why we ask for the entire piece so that they can access, they can read more. And if you've done your job, they're going to want to get into it more. They're going to want to see more. But for the first round, just remember your judges are looking at a lot of entries in a short amount of time. You really want to wow them with that highlight of the best 20 minutes, 10,000 words, no longer than that. And if you've got a long form entry, that is the best way to get that in front of them and get them to want to delve further. But they're going to need the complete work to do so. So this is what this looks like. For long form entries such as films, novels, scripts, or series, you're going to highlight a segment for the judge's consideration that best represents the work. You're going to indicate a start time or end page number, timestamp, page numbers, this kind of thing. And the judges will evaluate the segment in the first round of scoring. Now, there are many people who, for instance, might do, let's say you do a Poe podcast and you've been doing this for several years, but you would like to enter your podcast for the Saturday Visitor Awards. This is entirely valid to do. However, you want to submit a segment that it was created within the period of eligibility. And if that's confusing for anybody, please send me an email and we can talk about it. Or if you've got a specific question about this, send me an email and we can chat about your specific piece. But let's say you've been creating work for a really long time. You want to make sure that the segment for consideration still falls within this period of eligibility and you're still eligible. But you'll share with the judges in that longer synopsis. You've got an entire, Poe podcast, but you're submitting your best segment here for their consideration, especially in this first round. So you'll be asked, is your entry long form, such as film, novel, or script? Then you'll be asked to highlight those things. Now, next question. How does Poe inspire you? This is otherwise known as the artist statement. You're asked to please describe how Edgar Allan Poe or his writing is a subject or inspiration for this work. The statement should help the judges understand how the work continues Poe's legacy by either adapting his life or works or contributing to his continued presence in popular culture. And this is where this is Poe Baltimore's mission. Your statement should draw a direct line from Poe to your work. Now, I have seen people go a little too tangential with this and sort of say, Poe wrote horror and this is a horror story. You want to be much more specific than that. You really want to share with the judges how Poe has inspired you. This is an award given by the Edgar Allan Poe House in Baltimore. So this is of interest to us, of course. So how does Poe inspire you? This is a time to really connect with the judges. And I guarantee that what moves you, you're talking to somebody on the judges panel who is also moved by Poe, who has also devoted some part of their life to Poe. So we've had some judges from the Poe Museum in Richmond. We've had Poe Studies Association judges. We've had best-selling authors who've written books inspired by Poe or about Poe. So no matter who the judges are on the slate next year, I guarantee you're talking to somebody who also feels that within them and they will connect with your statement. So you want to be as clear as possible here and really share how the work is inspired by Poe and make that clear. And finally, there is a fee to enter the Saturday Visitor Awards. It's $25 to enter a piece for SVA consideration. Don't go through this entire process and then be surprised by the fee at the very end. So if you don't submit your entry payment, your entry will not be reviewed by the judges. So nobody should be surprised by that. But those are the things to note about the entry form and what's going to get you to that 10, 10, 10 by the judges. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions in the comments yet, but I do hope that if so, you've got some questions, especially specific to your own work. Again, visit SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. If you're feeling brave, you can send some comments my way tonight. I'm very, very happy to stay for a little bit and answer these questions if you have them, or if I see them in the comments later, if you're watching this video a little after we've gone live. If I see a really good question to share with folks, I will do so. But feel that we are a resource. You can contact us and be in touch with us, and we can help you with your specific entry. That way, you're not in the dark when you're entering your works for Poe. So, while I'm waiting to see if we have some questions, I'm going to go back to some important things to remember. Mistakes sometimes that we see from folks, important things to remember. Now, we've covered this in some of our previous sessions, but again, if you're watching for the first time, we want you to know everything. We want you to be prepared. So important things to remember: we see these mistakes every year. Don't commit these mistakes. Don't be surprised by any of this. First, understand eligibility. The best way to do that is to download the guidelines and really read them before you enter. We are looking for completed works that were first released, published, printed, or available to be seen by the public at some point in the previous 3 years, between January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2021. And this is for the 2022 awards. This is a rolling eligibility. Your piece is eligible for 3 years from when you created or released it, I should say. I see every year, we see entries from people who unpublished pieces that have never seen the light of day. And as much as those are, they're beautiful works. I've cried seeing some entries that they've never been released. This is an award for Poe-inspired works in popular culture. So it's got to be in the culture to be recognized. So, but note that self-published works do count. So even if you're not traditionally published, quote unquote, traditionally published, or if you've done this yourself, you've got your own website, your own YouTube channel, or your own social media, those things do count, but they need to be available for the public, have been available for the public to see by December 31, 2021. And again, if there's a question, there's no question, you need to get a hold of us and ask. But just know, even if you're not eligible next year, you will be eligible eventually. So take heart with that. Second, please provide a working link. Again, we don't have the budget to send our judges to you, so you need to bring your work to the judges. You will be required to provide a working URL to your piece for the judges to view. But let's say something goes wrong and your link doesn't work. Don't worry, we will make one attempt to contact the artist if the link is broken or requires a password. However, if we can't reach you or you fail to provide a link after we've reached out to you, your entry will be disqualified and there will not be a refund. So don't make that mistake. Test your link, make sure it's working. You're going to get one shot if it's not. And if you don't know what a URL is, please ask a friend to help you if you don't know what a URL is. All right, let's see a comment. Let me see. Best of luck to everyone. Yes, best of luck, everyone. All right, and finally, make it easy to view. You're going to go through all the trouble to make this work, and you're inspired by Poe, and you're doing this work. We know that artists work with crazy programs and file types and all this other these wonderful things that they have to do to make their work happen. But we need you to deliver a file in a format that is universal and can be opened without special programs. So PDFs, PNGs, JPEGs, those are best when it comes to images or things to read, that kind of thing. We really do discourage editable files. So don't send a Word document or a page document. That really is, it's not, it gets messy and it's not a good idea. Similarly, social media links, you really don't know how the judges are going to kind of view this if they have to look at the Facebook post. So if you need to get a screen cap of your Facebook post, that's the best way to do this. Get the screen cap, put it in a PDF, boom. Judges can actually read this. But if they have to connect to your social media, or for instance, we did have somebody submit a piece via Amazon. It was $0 to download on Amazon, but one of the judges, it was a little bit weird. They didn't like that. They really do prefer a PDF. So assume your judges don't have Photoshop or Kindle accounts or anything like that, and you want to make your piece as easy as possible to view. Make it easy for everyone. But again, if we have a little bit of trouble, we will contact you once, try to mitigate. We'll try to solve the problem, but you don't want to be stuck with that. Okay. All right. Well, nobody is brave sending a question this evening. Not see anything so far, but I look forward to working with anyone who is interested in presenting their work for the Saturday Visitor Awards. I'll put the website up here again, SaturdayVisitorAwards.org. Entry guidelines, frequently asked questions, contact us. And I'm very, very happy to connect with you and talk specifically to you about your work, specific to your piece and what you intend to enter. All right, some more plugs for Poe House. If you enjoy our programming, if you are supportive of Poe sites, please consider Poe Nation donation support for Poe House. We've got 2 more weeks to help us reach our $5,000 funding goal. I think we're 50% there before December 31, 2021. Your donations help keep Poe's chamber door open to the thousands of visitors from around the world, both in person and online. So if you'd like to donate to Poe House, keep Poe's chamber door open, please make a donation by texting Poe Baltimore to 44321. You can make a one-time donation, you can make a recurring donation, but your donations help support Poe House, but also help support programs like the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards, as well as the Saturday Visitor Awards. So connect with us. If you're watching one of our videos, hopefully you are either following us on YouTube, following us on Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing. Hopefully you're seeing this video, one of our social media feeds. Hit that like button, follow us, and that way you'll be able to see these connections too. One thing that's not on here, our newsletter. If you visit poebaltimore.org, you can be added to our mailing list and get up to the month information about everything happening at Poe House. And Poe gifts. Now we are getting really close to the holidays, so unfortunately, shipping might be a little bit tough. But if we get any purchases this weekend, we will make sure to get them in the post right away. But Poe merch is just fun merch, anytime. So keep Poe's chamber door open. Visit our online shop. Visit poehouseshop.com. All right. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions tonight, but I look forward to talking to all of you. Thank you very, very much tuning in. Get those, if you know any Poe-inspired creators out there, if you are an artist, writer, and you have done work inspired by Poe, we want to see your work, the best in the world, a new generation of artists and writers inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see everybody one day before Christmas Eve next week. We'll be back on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, be nice. Be nice, everybody. Have a good one.